Frank,
Dynamite.
Frank, morning, man. Can I Be Frank is all about capturing real, authentic, unedited conversation.
Introducing, I'd just like to introduce Kenneth Madden. And there's Kenneth's screen, which is great. Now, oh, look, it's like being back in the 1990s. It's so blurry. There. No. We get you a little bit. You're fucking blurry. Jesus Christ. It's right. So one is one on me, and then the next one is just you and your Todd, and then the next is a split screen of the two of us, which is probably the best way to do it. You're just seeing your one. I'll show you what I mean here. Bear with me now.
I in the corner there's me, like, and then there's you, and then you're in the big one then.
Yeah, fine. What do you think of this whole idea of the consciousness thing? Does that mean anything to you?
In what sense? Like,
So, it's an interesting segue, but well, the whole idea of what consciousness is, because that's the big word that I'm hearing at the moment is consciousness. And consciousness being really expansive as a result of taking a psychedelic. And then you'll hear loads of spiel, but it's still, they're talking about a word, consciousness, which is, I don't even know really what it means. Is it awareness of?
yeah, I would say I don't really know what it means either. And anyone who says they do, it depends. If you look it up, it has quite a number of different definitions for it,
Yeah.
consciousness. So it depends. People throw it out there as if the other person knows what they're talking about, but it could mean it's probably interchangeable with awareness. Most common probably meaning of it. I'm, in the sense of, I'm aware that, I'm conscious that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of people would use it, awareness, consciousness, awareness. But it's
Yeah.
I just stay away from it really. I don't really use it, and I think it's very confusing term. It's very kind of, it's too broad and it can mean so many different things, and it's kind of airy fairy kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mean anything to me, like, at all. I don't get it.
And I think most people use it, and they don't really know what they're saying when they use it either. Like,
Yeah, well, that's okay. I'm just very interested because the amount of times I've heard it used in the last while, maybe it's the whole psychedelic thing, and it's we don't understand consciousness, and we really want to understand consciousness, and LSD brings about changes in consciousness and all of that, and to me, I can't. It's like you were saying. It brings about changes in gloop, in a totally made up word that means nothing. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it's one of those words that it's gone across new age stuff, science, spirituality. It's kind of used in all of these different areas and can mean different things in different areas. Usually your consciousness. So you have a thing called consciousness,
Yeah.
So what does that mean then? What is it, this thing called consciousness that I have, and it's something, and it's like as if it's spoken about as a kind of a thing, a little trick you have up your sleeve that you're not really using it enough, so you can tap into using it and expanding it and You know, it's just another kind of aspect of the person, really, the individual. To me, that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a feature of the person, the individual, consciousness, awareness.
Yeah.
Kind of interchange it with awareness.
So it's a load of bullshit, like, really,
Oh,
isn't it?
total, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It really is a word to try and explain. I had that thought there the last day about, people use so many words about everything, right? But when it comes to the fucking thing that's happening, I actually I can't say that I have one word that I could use, that I can stand over and say, um, because I could
This
stand
gets
over in
the
any way, shape, or form. So
this gets the Frank McCaughey seal of approval.
yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, like in other words, cold showers are cold. Now,
Yeah.
they're that's a true statement in whatever way, but in terms of the fact that anything about life or beyond life or this or that or the beginning and the end and whatever, non-duality, not non-duality, spirituality. There is not one word that I can say I couldn't even put a couple of sentences together about life that I can stand over, and that are not words that I've learned or heard from somewhere, or some bit of description that I do not know what this is. I'm sitting, I'm in here now. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That it can't be known. It's unknowable. It's not
Yeah,
knowable. Like it just is. Life just is, and
yeah.
it's impossible to know it because to know it, you have to extract yourself from it. Um,
But you say the movement then to try and extract yourself from it, to try and stand, even that kind of that feeling of trying to stand back and figure out what's happening, right? Or even that comes out of that happens, right?
hmm.
I'm curious as to how that comes into play. Even why would anybody be bothered to try and figure that out? Trying to figure something out. Did they learn that they need to figure something out, or there is this curiosity that happens, I suppose. But even I don't know what the fuck.
Well, it's all the whole knowing thing is really you're in a loop of your own knowing. So knowing and understanding is all about you being a separate you um, to to the world. That's what it is, really. That's all it
Yeah.
is. So it's everything that's known and understood is really just about keeping that sense of self going, so that the way the person knows, or how much they think they know, or how much they think the world is knowable, is unique to that unique apparent person.
Mm.
So one person might put a huge emphasis on knowledge and be a professor in a university, and everything, if their whole identity is based on knowledge, or whatever you want to choose. And another person might be a more experiential person who doesn't really put any emphasis on knowing, but it's more their experiences, or
They want the
what
better
they,
proof. Yeah.
yeah, or yeah, not so much. They mightn't be in so much to theoretical knowledge, or it's all completely unique. Um, but that's what the yearning to know and understand is all about. Ultimately, is to maintain the sense of me, and the more I know the world, the more I can maintain this sense of me safe from the world. You can say that bubble of me is then safe. I'm safer in the bubble the more I know the world. That's
God,
what it's
yeah.
about, really. Yeah, that's really what it all boils down to.
So that I can protect myself against the unknown, I need to know the world. Is that what you're saying to me? Oh,
Yeah, so I can protect the me. It's just protecting the me, and
so I'll be in control of what's happening if I can know the world. Is that?
yeah, it's tied in with control as well. Yeah, the more you can know, the more you can control. The more you can. Say if you imagine there's a me and it's going through life, so everything that's coming at it, it's either okay, you're either friend or foe, friend or foe, friend or foe, and that's decided really quickly. So if you're a friend, then you're safe, and then that's good, and maybe you can offer me something, and I can offer you something, and there's that meeting of needs, and we'll be safe together. And if you're foe, I need to know that you're enemy, and I need to avoid you or keep away from you or kill you. You know what I mean? That's
To,
one of
to
the primary kind of um, things that we all do is that you're either with me or you're against me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's why, like in any interaction, when you meet someone new, sometimes you meet someone new and they're kind of giving you the kind of the once over. It's
Yeah.
very obvious. They're like, what's this guy got to offer me, or should I be afraid? Should I kind of
Should I
fearful
be
of this guy?
threatened?
Should I be
Yeah.
threatened by this guy? Yeah, you
And
know.
that's all comes from this fucking this this person.
It comes from the energy of feeling like you're separate to everything.
Yeah. So it is.
So
The way
there's a
we've talked about
continual
this.
evaluation then of how maintaining that me all the time. There's a continual evaluation is of something is either a threat or it can enhance me and keep me safe. It's kind of echoes the pulling in pleasure and pushing away pain because you're pulling in pleasure to make the me more comfortable and you're pushing away pain to and discomfort for the same reason.
Hmm.
There's a kind of continual avoidance of discomfort and a pulling in of comfort.
Yeah, but so that is in the body. It is felt. There is an energetic thing. Who was I talking to about it recently? About say there were. Hold on, I go back another way. Say there's an unknowing, right? There's not knowing something, right? So say you just don't know. You're not. You genuinely just don't know anything, right? And
Yeah,
and not even that's not even a sentence that I don't know that I don't know anything. I just know there's nothing I can stand over or. So, but there's still an energetic felt sense of isness or beingness and separateness as well. This separate feeling from the world that I'm here and there's the table and this is I'm me. I'm I'm this
mm,
and outside is the world. But even that, like
yeah.
that's loose enough that statement. But it's what I'm talking about is this energetic felt sense of being separate. It's not like just a
Oh
thought.
yeah, like it's totally, yeah, no, totally. I mean, that as we were saying, the understanding and knowing is just one aspect of being a person. It's just one aspect, and it might be very strong in one apparent person, or it might be not so important in another person. But the person feeling like a person is a really, it's a real experience for the person. It's an energetic um, experience that's very real for the person,
Mm,
and it's unique to every apparent person how they experience how that experience is of feeling separate to the world. So it will be totally as unique as the person, but it's
mm.
completely energetic though. It's cellular. It's not.
This is cellular.
Oh, I would say it's cellular. Yeah, in every cell. It's a contraction. An energetic contraction of a really felt sense. It's absolutely. um, undeniable for the person that they are a person in the world and there's a world out there. It's completely undeniable to them. It's ludicrous to think that that's not. It's completely real. It's absolutely real,
Yeah.
and it's
But
beyond. It is beyond. It's totally beyond concept or knowing or understanding, and that's why nothing that is said or suggested can in any way affect our that contracted sense of self. It's there till it's not there, and it can be that there's a readiness. Um,
what's this about the readiness?
oh, are you
Go
ready?
on, you fucking. What are you saying about the readiness? I know what you're saying. Go on.
There
Say it
can, no,
anyway.
there can be. It can when it can just it just can the me can just fall away energetically, just fall away.
Hmm.
And is all the time now. Frequently, people are there's only what is, and then what generally seems to happen is the energy of me kind of comes back again, seems to come back again,
Yeah.
appears to come back again. That's very common. It's people say it's a glimpse or an awakening or um, whatever language you want to put on it. It's just you can think of it as a release from this energetic contracted self of me. People often say it's an awakening or whatever. And then there's most of the time it seems that there's a sense of me then comes back.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it plays out. But what I would say then is when the me comes back, then intellectually, then the person is looking for some sort of understanding. And at that point, then there can be a readiness to kind of, or an openness to hear that there was, it has nothing to do with what they think they did or didn't do. That there's no them, there's no separate them there.
So is it just
Um,
suddenly there and not there? Is that it? Like, I mean, because you can remember. Can you remember feeling like a person? Is there a memory there? You know,
there's a
could you remember feeling like a person?
Yeah, there is a memory, yeah, but not
Yeah.
very, yeah. There is a memory of kind of sensations more of feeling like a person, yeah.
Yeah. It is radically outrageously different, the perspectives. Is it, in a way, talking, nothing talking and someone talking? Is this.
To the person, it seems radical. Yeah, on the face of it, it is radical. It's a radical message to the individual, to the person. Uh, it's completely different to what they would have heard. Um, and then in actuality, when it appears to happen, it's just so ordinary. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously ordinary. It is what everyone already is. It's just there's just life. It's extremely unexciting and non-fireworky and normal and ordinary,
So
I
is
would
that
say.
is that energetic thing more like it's a tension? It's like it's not it's like a held tension in the body. That's the
You
person,
could
is that
say it's
what?
a tension. Yeah, there's a ten. Yeah, yeah, you could
It's not
say
an
that. Then.
ease anyway.
Like our being a person is a constant agitation to find something or to an uneasiness that there's something missing. But sometimes that's very keenly felt, and sometimes the person is not aware of it at all. No way. There's loads of people that aren't aware at all that they're maybe searching for something, or that there's any tension. So it goes from like it's both ends of it.
You know your man there. You know Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, yeah, yeah.
So Jim Carrey obviously went on TV and said, "There's no me," and
Hmm.
everybody said, "Well, he's insane." Saying that.
Hmm.
That was the reaction. He said stuff before and he's got attention before, but everybody just assumed the man was having a breakdown talking about it.
Yeah, I think like what we were saying earlier. It's very radical to the whole world we live in is all about me, 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 and it's all about you doing something or it's understanding, it's knowing, it's the world is noble, and we're coming from a past, we're in the present, we're progressing towards the future. So, the suggestion that there's just this, there's no past, no future, there's no you, to the in the mind of the person is insanity. It's crazy. Like in psychology, one of the definitions of insanity would be not feeling like a separate person, or not acknowledging the separation, that you're separate self, is my understanding. So yeah, it's nuts, it's crazy. So it's like, yeah, and then when the me appears to fall away, because it only appears to fall away because it was never real, it's an artificial construct, that when it's no longer there, it's seen it was never there. Then it's the opposite. Then that it's kind of this sense of people running around thinking they are separate people with control over their lives and all that. That's just really, it's more endearing than anything. It's not. It's just like it's a complete story.
You know the way you hear from time to time people saying that a lot of, we'll say, apparent problems come from this idea of being a separate self. A lot
Oh
of the.
yeah, yeah.
But then, if that's the case, if it is an illusion and there isn't a separate self, then it's not the case that the problems are from everybody going around thinking that they're separate. Because
Well, it's just then that there are no problems really. More than it's just there is just what there is.
yeah,
There is just
okay.
what there is, and if you want to label it a problem, then
Well, that's,
you
there you go.
label it a
Yeah,
problem, and then that will be, and
that
then
makes more sense. Yeah,
not only will you label it a problem, but it's your problem, and it's something
yeah,
that's happening to you. So then there's the victimhood of it. Also, like I've got whatever illness and it's happening to me, or so I got robbed, that happened to me, or whatever whatever example you want to pick up. Life is happening to me.
yeah.
That's the way we live as people, and then we have experiences. Like there's and it's in that time space continuum. At 3 o'clock, at this location, this thing happened. They're all dependent on each other, but really, there was no 3 o'clock, and there is no place really, in the sense that it's all just one, and then there's no experience. There's nothing actually happening. There's the appearance of something happening, but for something to happen, there has to be time and space.
And
And
me,
that's
and
I,
me.
well, the time
Time,
and space
space,
is
and me.
is a feature of the me.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, me. It's all about the me. Yeah.
So if all of this is all happening in total free fall, free fall, whatever.
Well,
If
you
it's
see,
all
it's not
happening,
happening.
what?
It's not even happening. It's that it both is and isn't. It's real and unreal.
Fuck you anyway. Go on.
Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
that's it.
Which mean it
That's the
is and
thing.
isn't. It is and isn't.
It is and isn't. Everything is and
I
isn't.
hate when you say
It's
it is
not.
and isn't.
It is and isn't. Yeah,
I hate
it
when you
is and
say.
it isn't, and that's why it's totally beyond the mind. It's like some um, religions feel that everything is Maya or illusion, but they're just doing the same thing that we're doing. Everything is absolutely real. They're just flipping it around and going, everything is completely unreal, and that's their another belief they have. But the thing of it is, everything is and isn't simultaneously, because it's life and death. If you want to look at it that way, the is the life, the death is the isn't part of it. It's not there. Life and death aren't two separate things. But you see, when you're into that, then it's completely beyond
Yeah, don't
understanding.
lean.
There's
Just
no
I can't see your,
understanding it.
when you lean so far forward.
Yeah, that's what I see. Just so you know.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
I'll try to whisper in your ear there.
Sorry, go on. When you said when it's real and unreal or something.
I don't know what I said. Yeah, it's real and unreal. I can't remember any train of thought on that one. It is, and oh yeah, that it's not understandable. people want to understand then that it's real and unreal. And how can you understand that it's real and unreal? I mean, this has nothing to do with understanding or knowing. It's the person that knows. It's the person that understands. So understanding you're not there makes absolutely no fucking difference whatsoever. That's
Yeah.
why all of the vast majority of what's happening under non-duality is it's just another culty thing, really. It's just another concept, and people are living non-dual lives or whatever. It's just it becomes very wordy and very blah blah blah. To be honest, it's you know,
Yeah.
it's just the person using this concept, which there's nothing wrong with it. There's not. It's it is what it is.
Hmm. Sorry, I just wanted to check something there. Yeah, no, it's okay. Um, what was I going to say to you? Then, so say, yeah, it's getting back to this idea then of say the world can't be known, and it's really only when there's somebody that's caught in a story of born, living, and died. When that thing is absolutely real, I am real. There is a world, and then I need to understand the world. So when there is no person in time and space, when there's no person there, then there is no need to know. Is that why there is no search going on? So you're not looking to try and figure out what's going on because it just doesn't appear. Is that really? Is that,
It's well, it's kind of like the person. You could say the person, the individuals are looking for an answer in life. So it's going through life looking for an answer, and then the long more it goes on, it's looking for the big answer. Because nothing else has answered. I want the answer, and then when the me falls away, it seems there's no answer, but there's no question. It's just
yeah.
that it's not that there's an answer or that they've got something. It's just there's no longer a question. There's just this. There's just what is. And so when people,
What the fuck is it like? Is it like sometimes I have an image in my mind that it's like a piece of paper. You see that? It's
hmm,
not this big, huge, gigantic, expanding universe or whatever. It's like a fucking like what the fuck is this though? Like
but it's
the
not.
where
It's
did the,
not
what's the
anything.
what do you mean it's not anything like? There is still something here, like Kenneth. Do you know what I mean? Like there is still
There's a
something
lot.
happening. Look,
There's
this is
aliveness.
definitely something. This is definitely something happening.
Oh, there's aliveness, which aliveness or energy um, is and isn't. And I don't know what more I can say
No, I'm
about
not. Well,
it.
but I'm.
There's
Yeah,
this full-on aliveness
I don't
that's
know what you're going to say
unknowable.
about what's that? Yeah, what is this
It's
full on
unknowable, and
aliveness?
it's not anything though. It's not anything. It's just an isness, and
It doesn't appear in.
anything.
It isn't in.
No, no, no. It doesn't appear in anything else. It's all that
Yeah.
is. That's the mind again, thinking of one thing that appears in another.
Well, no, this is a kind of a feeling because normally you have a kind of trying to sense of what the fuck, like, right? Well, what the fuck is this,
Yeah.
right? You have to try to even feel your way to what is this, like, right? So what, and then what am I? And it's not even that. It's just this. Yeah, like anyway? Fuck you anyway. Sure. Isn't.
You don't like that one.
I don't like isn't. I'm a
You
black and
don't.
white sort of dude. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, everyone is a black and white sort of dude. Well, every dude is a black and white sort. Every dudette is a black and white dudette.
yeah, don't
Do
be
you know what I mean?
sexist. Yeah,
That's it's the duality of the play of the dualism of being a person is this when you seem to occupy a center point, you there's a play of of opposites, good, bad, up, down, right, wrong. That's the play of being a person. And
yeah.
that's the way that's how we understand as well. It's like, well, if it's not that, then it's the other thing. If it's not good, then it has to be bad. you
You s-
know.
but you see, there's for me
We
like
tend
there's
to simplify like that, and that's all about that's all about occupying this center point, which is you. But
Me, yeah.
when the center falls out, when the center appears to fall out, the opposites, everything just collapses then in that sense, and everything just is or appears to be.
Yeah.
And all of that is just an appearance as well. There's no, um, it sounds like when you talk about it that it's a process and that someone has arrived at something. It's very, 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 very hard to communicate this. Probably impossible without it sounding like you've got something that
Yeah.
other people could get. Because people, you see, um, hear what they want to hear. So there's a filter. Everything is filtered that's been suggested. That's why someone says something and 10 different people will hear 10 different things, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's this or anything else. Because you filter in, it's kind of how we started earlier. You filter in what's good, what you think is good for you and protects you, and you filter out what's not good for you.
Mm.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? So say someone who is very racist and they go to talk about something, they will filter in things they want that will support that racism, and therefore what that they're really doing is keeping the me safe, because the racism is an aspect of the me. It's a central part of who they are. And then they won't hear what's being suggested if it pulls the rug out from under the racism, because that would be too dangerous. They're not open to that, and they'll think of things to say. They'll actually invent things that have happened that confirm that person's wrong and they're right. I'm just randomly picking an example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the way we all do it. That's the way it all works. We hear what we want to, and we.
Yeah, but with something like this, you can hear it. We'd say you can intellectually understand most of it, but it is energetically the me, like you say, it is energetic, though, isn't it? I mean,
Oh,
really,
completely,
really
yeah.
is. Because even
No,
this
it
in
doesn't
and
matter,
out,
to be
even the
honest.
in and out thing of, sometimes it's kind of there is no self awareness and there's just talking, or there's no contemplation of what's in the mind beforehand. The words just come flying out, and there's total ease, and life just there is that flow. Or say you're lost in a task, and that's just you're not there doing it. So that's
it's
the
nothing
being
to
and
do.
being.
It's nothing to do with getting it at all.
Yeah.
You could
Okay,
have,
yeah.
you could have, for example, you could have a communication, and you could have two people there who are listening, and one person is completely bamboozled by it, doesn't know, really, is totally confused, and you could have someone who intellectually understands it, absolutely, completely intellectually gets that there can't actually be a separate person, and then there could be then bang, the confused person, there could be a falling away, and there could be just this, and there's it's no bearing on anything. It's not. It's totally energetic, completely energetic. Um, I the experience here of it being communicated is that a common reaction, probably the most common reaction, is anger. People get pretty fucking pissed off that they're what they get pissed off that you're suggesting, or it's being suggested that this is it. That's the first thing. People do not like to hear that this is it. They want to hear it some other nice. There's some good stuff coming down the line. There's a big party happening in heaven,
Yeah.
wherever it is. There's something coming. Like, it can't fucking be just this. Oh
No.
my God Almighty! Fuck off! Seriously, just
really.
this? You know what I mean? They really don't like that, and in the sense that there's no me. You get it. Yeah, anger is one of the things that would often come up as the first reaction, anger. The other thing is that when it's been suggested, you can sense that it's really ringing a bell, or it's resonating with someone.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it can be the person. It's not resonating with the person, because the person is just being a person, the individual. The individual then doesn't want it and doesn't like it and is rejecting it. So you get this you get this pull push thing. So you get a sense of this is kind of amazing, not kind of amazing. This is really just there's something about what's being suggested that just I can't even describe it. It's amazing. I'm back to amazing. I just said it's amazing again, but yeah,
Yeah.
here I am struggling with words. But and at the same time, they say, "Oh fuck this shit, man! I really don't like this," and they want to go from the room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you want to say that that's the middle, that's quite a common one. It's resonating, and they also don't want it. And then you obviously have then both extremes of that. You have the completely someone. It's just completely this readiness for it, and this complete resonance with what's been said, and there can often be a lot of laughter, or else you'd have the other thing of absolute rejection of it and a lot of anger, or just walking out of the room and just
Yeah, well,
disgusted with it.
it's interesting because
So
like there's no logical reason for me who somebody who's kind of analytical likes his fucking likes his facts and his information and likes to
yeah,
gather and research and know and understand like that really I like to get to the bottom of things.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there's no logical reason where there's so it's been like for a long time it's obvious there's nothing in this for me, and yet I enjoy it and I don't enjoy it at the same time. But also, the idea of me saying to you, "Oh, this is a load of bullshit," it just doesn't sit well with me either because I can't. There's something in me that just, I can't say that to you. That wouldn't be true either. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I can't say to you what you're saying is a load of bullshit or that the whole non-dual message of there being no person. I should go, geez, that's a load of shit there, and just leave it at that. But obviously, something within it attracts me in a really totally different way than other things would attract me in life. It's the type of thing that it's been said many times that we had the fucking chat, and
yeah.
yet, it's a bit of curious. It is that jumping into the abyss almost when you have this sort of conversation too. There is that diving into the complete unknown.
Yeah.
And I obviously find something about that attractive. So no, it was just when you were describing the various reactions. My reaction is obviously some sort of attraction to talking about it, to the adventure of it, that the danger of it almost. But it's still with the type of personality I am. I shouldn't be going fucking. This is just a load of fucking, and move on. But I've never moved on from it. Like, and yet I won't. The idea of
You see, it's
entertaining.
nothing to do with you, like
Yeah,
it's
well,
nothing to
just
do
wait.
with
Let me finish my sentence here
yeah.
before you flatten my brain with that. I was going to say, and yet, it's whole any other sort of, we'd say, I don't even want to put them in the bracket, but the idea of endeavor to try to get something, or the idea of meditation as a means to get understanding or get to a place of enlightenment, or all of those things. They've no weight behind. I just think they're all a load of absolute horse manure. And yet this one, which should be the most horse manure of them all,
Yeah.
has this attraction in some way.
Mm. Yeah, it's resonating there with you, then that's what it once the kind of bell rings, there's no going back in a sense. People often
No.
say once your head's in the lion's mouth, that's it. Like there's no once it's really glimpsed or really sensed, it can't be just shaken off like a different, some concept you come across and you're kind of into it for a few weeks, and then you just, I'm over that now. It's different to all of that.
It
It's
is.
different, yeah, it is, yeah, yeah. Once it's sensed, and then the the thing about the once the energy starts to go out of that, as you said, progressive endeavor to something that I'll do this to get somewhere, and once it's seen through, it's it's seen to be complete rubbish,
Yeah.
and it's just falls apart. Like
Well,
it's
it's a,
very obviously empty. You know what I mean? That
it's a,
whole sense of that um,
you're not quite there yet.
yeah, yeah, that if you do this, you will then get there. Once there's a kind of once you start really kind of looking into that and really seeing that for what it is, it becomes very, very obvious that that's just a load of bullshit, that whole thing. No matter how it's packaged to you or sold to you, um, yeah, it's just raw mosh, really, once it's
Yeah.
seen through. Yeah.
But it's the type of thing we've been hearing
Oh, it's the
all our
predominant message
life.
we get. It's a
Yeah.
predominant, it's the absolute main communication that we receive is that
From the
I
very
can see
get-go.
that from the get-go, yeah, that I can see you're lacking in something, be it skills, I don't know, whatever it is. You need this, and if I have it, I'll give it to you, and then it feels like that then that I did this, and I'm now here, or this led to this, and I got here. It's a very, as we were saying earlier, it's a very real lived feeling for the person that they're moving in time and space, and that there is cause and effect, and that they have a life. They have a
Yeah.
life. It's as simple as that. And what they do with that life, um, what they do with that life predicts, dictates what is then in their life at that moment. It's unquestionable. That's how it is.
But the reality is, there just is.
Yeah. The reality, or even I wouldn't really even use that word, the reality, I suppose. But yeah, the way it is that there's just aliveness. There's just energy.
Mm.
There is no you in what appears to be happening. Um, there's just what appears to be happening. I suppose that's as close as I could come in words to, there's just what is, or what appears to be. There's no you in it. And if there's no you in it, then there's no he or she in it either. There's no separation on any, at any point. Is there any separation?
Mm.
There's the appearance of it.
The felt appearance of it, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's funny though when you're in the midst of say stuff like this and we're talking about it, and I've said this before, but it does all the concepts, the feelings, the energetic feeling almost of being the person, that all just seems to dissolve away. It doesn't. It definitely when you have these sort of conversations, I suppose it does. It's not as strong. It's like that thing about your man Jeebus saying where two or three are gathered together. That thing. There obviously is
Hmm.
something. It's like in the meetings you talk about, or there is something in the room that this non-personal feeling that dissolves everything almost.
Yeah, maybe I think of it sometimes as, yeah, there's an energy to the communication when it's a clear communication that's not offering the person anything. There's an
Yeah,
energy to that. And that can be very confronting because the person
yeah.
is being starved, it's not being offered anything. But it can also be very liberating. And that's what I sense you're getting at, is this sense of, there can be a sense of boundlessness then, very obvious sense of boundlessness. And then also frustration for the person because the person just not getting anywhere with it,
Mm,
not being fed.
yeah, yeah. It's
But
fun.
it's heard as it's heard. Like, I mean,
You see, it's
um,
beyond words as well. Or it is as well, though. When I was describing that feeling there, that's beyond words. That's beyond. I'm not really talking about knowing something there. I'm saying you can feel that kind of liberating sense when you have these
oh
sorts of
yeah.
conversations. There is. It is that this dissolving thing
Hmm.
that it's funny. Like I was saying it to one of the guys that I interviewed, Neil. I was just talking to him about the film Zero and One, which is available to be bought online. So- but it's free as well, so don't pay for it, definitely. But I was saying to him, and his reaction was straight away, which I found really interesting. His reaction was straight away as well. That's really liberating to
Yeah.
hear that, hear the non-dual sort of message, the uncompromising non-dual message.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know people can. It's a surprise to me where the conversation can randomly. Well, it's not that it can. It's just out of nothing anyway. So it's always just comes up out of nothing. But it can be had in circumstances when you think there mightn't be an openness to it, and it can often be surprising how it's heard. It can really ring a bell with someone, and just really powerfully resonate with them. And yeah, you just don't know. But I think the way I think of it too is there's a there's a kind of a thirst for we live in a very it's quite restrictive how we live as people, as an individual, and we're kind of told how to be, and we're told what we are by, we're getting this feedback about ourselves, and we're looking for feedback about ourselves, and we're dealing with this apparent authority that we're trying to be we're kind of playing that game of being subjective to some apparent authority, and it's all very restrictive and constricted, and I can't fucking breathe. So sometimes when people are then there can be this attraction to things that aren't prescriptive and aren't authoritative and aren't just basically fucking telling you what to do and what to do, what you should do with your life, or whatever. So yeah, it can be even not particularly this message, but even other stuff that comes along that just has a certain energy to it. And music has that sometimes, just a freeness to it. Art, a lot of art, a lot of people, just the way they are. There's people who have no interest in all what we're talking about, and they just there's just a way of being that they don't give a fuck about kind of trying to tell people what to do, or they're just kind of doing what they do, and you know what I mean. There can be an energy to them then, and people are interested in that,
Yeah, I'm hugely interested in that idea. Yeah, well, people that appear that are, it's less self-conscious, I suppose. It would appear they're not fucking the breath held
are less maybe
tense.
yeah, and less more agendaless a bit. Agenda, I think people sense agendas very quickly. And the thing about this communication is it obviously doesn't have an agenda. How can it have an agenda? Because if you say to me, you're a fucking asshole and you're full of shit, and I go, well, that's what's happening, isn't it? I mean, that's what's happening there, is that there's the perception that I'm a fucking asshole and I'm full of shit. There you go. That's it.
Oh, God.
I mean, what do I give a fuck if you believe anything that's said here? What difference could it possibly make?
Yeah.
If someone takes on something or believes, don't believe it. Why would you believe it? Do you know what I mean? I mean, and then that has an energy to it then. People sense that there's no agenda. How could there be an agenda? If the suggestion is there's only what is, then what would be the agenda for you? There is no you there. There is no you. So how can there be an agenda for a you that's not there to believe something that's being suggested? There's no room for an agenda. There's no agenda. And then I think there's an energy to that big time. Because everything that comes at us kind of has an agenda, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, trying to sell something, I think, is the big thing. Trying to convince. It's even like you can almost hear when somebody is trying to convince you of something, it's so obvious that they have a vested interest in convincing you of it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What was I going to say to you? And what do you think of the idea as well about the fact Jim Carrey talking about something like this in the mainstream? Or do you have a view? Do you give a shit? Or it's
not
just
really,
so uncommon?
I kind of found it mildly interesting, all right. Well, it was interesting. I listened to him, what he said. I thought it was good. It was not good, but it was, I liked what he said, But yeah, there's no Jim Carrey, so it's of no significance either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That someone famous said that there's nobody here. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's because people are saying, "Oh, is there still a Jim Carrey though, or is there not a Jim Carrey, or is there still something going on there?" And I'm like, I don't care. I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? You know? I
Mm.
don't know. What I heard a couple of years ago was it was very much into the Power Now and Eckhart Tolle and all of that, and I just because it was based on some experience of I think waking up in the morning and just a sense that there only was what was. So then there was going down the spiritual route years ago. I can't remember, and then I was aware of that, and then so then when he said this, it seemed a bit more all right. Jim's a bit more on the money now, but is there something going on? Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But I think the reaction of people um, who are normally very open-minded when he said it, then is yeah, it's fear. It's crazy talk. I mean, like you were saying there, we're indoctrined into the sense that we are a person, separate individual person from day one. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
Well,
So
that
it
we're
can
not good.
be
We're not enough,
yeah.
almost.
Yeah, but
That
I
sense of
suppose
lack. Yeah.
it's specifically though that you are a you are a separate you with choice,
Yeah.
and there is consequence, and there is cause and effect, and there is time, and there is so all of that stuff is just taken so much for granted that to suggest that it's not real is can be yeah, it's complete fucking lunacy. It's crazy. What are you talking about? Like I'd actually you get more time, you get more airtime talking about fairies and fucking goblins or some other crazy shit than you do to suggesting what we're suggesting here. A lot more
Yeah.
airtime.
Well,
Or
you won't
dead
be.
people, spirits. You'd be taken much more serious. You get onto talk shows if you say I see dead people and I talk to them all the time,
Yeah.
and you're saying it's okay. Yeah, that maybe that's possible. I don't know. But it's just see it. You're back again to it's a threatening. It's too threatening. It's too threatening.
Mm.
So it's branded as it's crazy, and that's what the whole energy of the individual is. It doesn't want anything to do with it. The communication is not speaking to anybody. It's not
Mm.
speaking to the individual because the individual can do nothing but reject it. Doesn't want, has not any interest in it at all. It's
Mm.
just the individual just being an individual. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he won't be getting on back on Oprah saying there's no you and there's no free will. The
Was
free
he on
will.
Oprah? Was he?
I'm sure he was before. Yeah. Loads of
Oh,
times.
before, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I
Who
don't think he
knows
get.
though? All the crazy shit that's happening these days with people. It's pretty fucking low down the pecking order now from what's happened after him in appeared to have happened after him with all the
What?
scandals and all of that. Weinstein and all this and all the scandals and you
Yo, well,
have
they keep coming back.
CK
Yeah.
Lewis and all of that kind of stuff. So
Louis
I think
C.K.
people have
Yeah.
Lewis CK, I mean, and so people have long forgotten about Jim Carrey saying he's not there, maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think anybody wants to remember it though. You see, I think it's kind of one of those things. It's almost like, well, it's not. It's just two people just can't go there. I think for the not for the
Yeah.
most part, they don't want to know. Well, what do you mean exactly? And then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just,
I thought it was one interview or the interview I saw, she was getting really pissed off at him because she was getting really irritated with him and very quite angry actually. Like he wasn't.
was that when he was walking around in a circle around her? That was a bit weird though.
No, it
Anyway.
was a different one. He was sitting down and the guy he'd done the movie with was beside him.
Oh yeah,
He was
yeah,
getting
okay,
really fucking angry at him. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, the movie's quite lovely. There's a couple of lovely quotes in it. A couple of nice. The movie, the Jim and it's on Netflix. Um, Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth a go. It's interesting.
Yeah.
The free will thing is very interesting, really. He, have, and that then links into no responsibility. Um, but that feeling that there is no free will, or that not even that feeling, but the sentence "there is no free will." That's another mind blowing sentence, really, that the person can't get their head around. That I can't get my head around, really. I mean, again, maybe I can grasp it for a moment, but it's all tied into the same. If there's no person, then there's obviously no free will in what you're
No,
saying. But
obviously,
that's
yeah,
theory for me as well.
yeah.
Saying to me there's no free will, it's impossible to feel to when there's a person there. It's just impossible to.
Well, there's apparently a person there.
When there's, well, I can't say when there's apparently a person.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, free will. I mean, I wouldn't find it mind blowing or anyway.
No, obviously not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very obvious. I mean, when it's seen, it's just very obvious. There's no free will.
Mm.
Um, but I hear what you're saying. I can understand that as a person, you would, of course, you have free will. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
again, even though you hear about the
yeah.
scientific
But
evidence and
you
all
see,
that, it doesn't make any difference to a
yeah.
felt
But
feeling.
again,
Yeah.
you see, you're back to the whole thing about it's a completely unique experience for being to be a separate person. The experience of feeling like a separate person is absolutely unique.
Mm.
So for some person, it might be free will. And for the next person, free will, yeah, I was never sure about free will. I never really bought that free will thing. They don't really feel, that wouldn't have be bother
Mm.
them. And for that person, maybe if you were to say, well, there's no past, you do know there's no past or future, that's all a story. And this thing called the present, like where does that fit in, or where's the boundary? How could there be such a thing as time, other than the appearance of it? And that could totally unnerve them.
Mm.
And I've had friends that was very confronting for them. They couldn't even continue the conversation. They got really unnerved by that. Because for them, time is everything is time. Everything is time. So if there's no time, that was, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I
I suppose
totally
that's
do.
the point I'm making about the free will. It's like whatever will, yeah, it's just totally unique, that experience of it. And that's why the message is then heard as it's heard. It's as heard in as many ways as there are apparent people in the world. You know,
Mm.
one person gets obsessed with it and becomes can can think of nothing else, and another person, it's just, yeah, that's kind of interesting, and another person is, oh, I don't like that, that's bullshit, or so.
Yeah.
Um, but I suppose, like you're saying, like the common ones are free will, time,
Space.
choice. You have choice, control. They're very unnerving for people to feel that they don't have these things. Yeah,
Mm.
they don't have anything. They just are and aren't.
Fucker.
Had to get that one in.
Yeah. I had something for you there. Oh, I had the last day. Like years and years and years ago, I had this feeling of I'm sure it's
Fado, Fado, Fado.
but though, well, and it's just it came back to me there the last day a little bit. It's this. It's kind of, it's kind of a what the fuck. There's something instead of nothing. And I know what you're going to say to me. There's something and nothing, aren't you? But there's this feeling of there's something. There could be absolutely nothing. How is there something? So that's my mind trying to kind of get my head around the shock almost of it.
Yeah, but yeah, the mind.
It's like there's something. What? What the fuck?
Yeah,
But it doesn't even make sense what I'm saying there. So
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just not. It's not like people often talk about the river's edge. The river's edge is the understanding as it coming up. It's not jumping in the river. You'll only get to the edge of, like, understanding is nothing
mm,
with it, and it's a concept. Then, I like this character doesn't go around with some concept of something, and nothing. It's not an
Yeah.
idea or a concept. I don't believe any of this stuff. I
Yeah.
know any of this stuff, but the words are seem to be the ones that are used to kind of point towards something. But there's no kind of nobody understands this. Um, there might be some degree of understanding or intellectual kind of understanding of it, but it's not that what's been suggested is nothing to do with knowing or understanding. So you never meet a liberated person because a liberated or an enlightened, if you want to use the word enlightened, you never meet an enlightened person because the word is just suggesting the sense of the me falling away. So it's a loss of something. So there's no longer me. So there's no person who's enlightened.
Mm.
Enlightenment is the realization that there is no one. So you could swap that out with liberation. You never meet a liberated person ever. But as a person, there's this sense that when, especially when it's being communicated, okay, you're saying something, it's kind of resonating. You must know something I don't. You've arrived in some non-dual space that I want to get to. It's still just all misconception of the mind that they have something that you don't. Whereas it's actually the opposite. There's the there's nothing
All the
here.
concepts are lost.
Oh, well, yeah, there could still even be concept. I'm not saying like
Okay.
there's concept, but there's not concept for anybody.
Mm.
Concept is just thought anyway, isn't it? There's just thought
Yeah.
patterns, you know, and thoughts arise, but they don't. There's nobody holding on to them anymore. No, they're not registering. There's nobody there to register them. And the same with everything. It's all the senses. There's nobody here that's tasting. There's just tasting. There's nobody here to touch. There's just touch. There's nobody that hears. There's just hearing. So that's the immediacy of everything. Everything is just obviously immediately just this, you know.
Yeah.
And the notion that people would have that everything will get infinitely better is just complete bullshit. Why? Why would it get better? It's not. It's just that there's nobody there. That there's this sense of being a contracted person in the world just seems to fall away. And it seemed that it was you were never there as a person, an individual separate person. There was only just ever life or energy or whatever, and
Mm.
that just plays out as it plays out. So the patterns that are there, say the thought patterns, for instance, are the some of the constructs of they just continue to play out. But it's just the difference is there's nobody in there owning them anymore. So they're just the heaviness can go out of them, or if you want to call it neurosis can completely fall away a lot of it, or else it's there's a lightness to the neurosis even. So the neurosis can just continue, but it's not a problem anymore because it's just what appears to be happening anyway.
Mm.
You
So
know,
it's like it's
I don't know, am I hitting on
no.
some
It's
of the
to,
con? I'm trying to. I suppose what I'm trying to get at is
well. To
the
me,
concepts people have of
uh,
somebody who's talking about
well,
a thing called
it's
liberation.
well. Say take a puppet and imagine that the puppet has been moved by the hand to move all the various parts of the puppet, and
Yeah,
the movements don't change when the hand is taken away. The puppet somehow is just keeps moving, and there was never a hand there in the first place. So all the movements of the person, the thinking, the breathing, the choosing, they might become less, but there's no change. Is what you were saying.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But there might
nice.
be
It's
some
a nice
depend.
analogy. Like.
Yeah.
It's like the world. If people thought the world was flat and then they discovered the world was round, it's a pretty big shift. But it's also no shift at all because the world wasn't fucking flat to begin with. So where's the change? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. You could.
That's pretty good, that one.
I mean, it's yeah. Nothing changed. Nothing. What's being looked for is already what is, which is really annoying to the person because the person's whole energy is anticipation of something better than what is.
I could
It's moving
categorically,
towards something better all the time. It's a continual rejection of what appears. to be happening.
I could
As a
categorically
person.
describe it though. I think I could describe that sense of the personless, the without the tension. I could, from a feeling, I could describe it, and it's almost constantly there. Almost, it's the sense. It is this. If say what's happening is a total outpouring, right? And it's like a waterfall that's flowing down. There's nobody at the top pouring the water down the fucking waterfall. The water is just flowing down. So the talking is just somehow fucking happening. And the body is just here. The whole lot is just happening. That's all you could say, is it? It's just happening. There's no orchestrator at all going on
No,
doing anything.
no,
Even if there's this gripped tension.
Yeah. But you see, the thing is, the tension is also it. Everything is it. So if there's tension, then that's what appears to be happening. There's tension. So there's tension can still arise. Everything can still, all the shitty stuff, can still arise. It's just it's not happening for anyone.
And
But it never is happening for anyone.
Yeah.
There is nobody there. There's just a false addition of me to it. Because there's some perception then that, oh, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not there yet because of blah blah blah, and all I hear is blah 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 story. Because, yeah, okay, but like, there's this there's this confusion, or there's this blah blah blah, and like, but it is the confusion. It is the shitty feeling. It literally is whatever is.
Yeah.
And then when that's kind of seen, then everything can seem to kind of fall apart. Then the whole game of being me, or not, it doesn't matter. Actually, to be honest, none of it matters, because obviously nothing matters, only in the mind of the person.
Yeah, two fingers to you. I said the two fingers just in case, in the off chance anybody was listening to this an audio. Somehow they managed to listen to this. Yeah. You're some cunt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I take that as a compliment.
No, you should take it as a compliment. You
Yeah,
haven't changed a
I
bit. Yeah, you haven't changed a bit.
No.
Hi, if you like the conversation that I just had and you'd like more, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
Frank, what a man.